North Carolina and its hidden gems. So as a kid, we went to North Carolina, and it was a wonderful trip. One of the places we went specifically was Cherokee, North Carolina. We went to visit the Indian reserve there, and it was really neat to be able to see history come to life as far as the sights, the smells, the atmosphere of the area. They had the buildings so you could actually see where they would have been living at that time. They were wearing clothes so you could actually see it. You could smell the spices as they were cooking, and you got to interact with those people as they were talking to you, and they would also talk to each other in their native tongue, which was really neat to be able to hear. We also got to go and listen to, they have a really incredible play called Unto These Hills at the end of the night, and you get to watch them literally bring history to life in a really unique and memorable way, as far as they tell the story of the Cherokees whenever they first came, and then their struggles as the settlers came in and started taking over their lands, and then as the time went on, how they were able to make, they were able to go back and they were be able to remember their history and remind their children who they were and what they stood for. It was really neat to be able to learn about history in such a unique way. It's something that I will never forget, and I would highly encourage people to go and check that out, as well as being able to watch that play, because I think that play really did remind me of how important it is of our history, that we can learn from our mistakes, and then we can encourage our children to not make those same choices. While we were also there, we were staying in a cabin, and so it was really neat whenever we first came in. Being a Florida girl, you don't really see a lot of elevation places. So as we were driving up, to be able to see these mountains just get bigger and bigger, and as we got closer, realizing those little green spots that we saw in the distance were actually trees. And seeing the clouds just sitting on top of the mountains was one of the most incredible feelings in the world, and to be able to see the sunshine flicker in and out as the clouds move over the mountains. We drove up and around the mountain, and it was kind of scary to be able to be on the edge and not sure about the road, because there wasn't anything blocking the road. You could just literally fall off. But it was really neat to be able to get all the way up to the top of the mountain and get out of our car and go up into the cabin and be able to look out and see all of the mountains surrounding us and be out on that porch and just feel the cool breeze as it was coming in. We also had this beautiful swing that we could go out, and as you were going on the swing, you were able to swing out over the mountain and then come back, and it was just like a flying, and it was really neat. You don't have to be a person that loves to climb and explore to be enjoying the mountains, but I loved being able to climb. We went up and down the mountains, and as we went down, we didn't realize how steep it was coming back up, and we had to actually grab onto the trees to be able to pull ourselves up. I found a beautiful little stream that was coming out of the mountains, and I decided to taste it. It was sweet and cold. It was really nice to be able to experience the nature of the fall leaves and the different things. One day we were coming back, and we decided to stop, and there was a stream, and so my sister and I got out, and we went and played in the stream. We moved rocks around, and we actually found a salamander, and it was fun to be able to see the little salamander disappear back underneath the rocks and then come back out. He was really neat and exciting to be able to see something that we don't really get to see here in Florida. We also experienced going to, there was a river, and so we decided to go and play in the river. It was freezing cold for a Florida girl, but it was really neat to be able to go onto this little island and see all of the water surrounding us and watch people as they were floating by on their tubes. We knew it would be fun to be on the tubes, but we knew we were going to have some more fun the next day, so we decided that we were going to wait and not try to get on a tube. And what did we do the next day? We got to go on whitewater rafting, which was incredible. It was freezing cold in the river. Thankfully, they did allow us to rent our own wetsuits, which really did help with the freezing coldness aspect of it. But at the end of it, our toes were absolutely frozen. We got in the shower, and I couldn't feel my toes. They were completely numb, but the warm water did help. Highly recommend making sure that you get your wetsuit, because if you don't, you probably will be freezing. It's a little scary because there are really big drops in whitewater rafting. We had no idea how big the drops were. The guide was absolutely incredible, made sure all of us stayed inside of it. There were a couple times I thought my sister was going to fall out, but thankfully she didn't. We all managed to stay inside the boat, but the guide did an incredible job of bringing us up and down and back and forth, and we have a wonderful picture that we still have in our home today to remind us of that incredible adventure. One of our other fun things that we got to do was we got to go mining, which was a lot of fun. You don't have to be a person that loves to dig in the dirt to experience mining, however, because you get to put it in a bucket and then you just get to shuffle it around and try to see what gems you could find. My sister happened to find a ruby just hanging out on top of the thing, and I was kind of jealous that she found that. But we got to find all sorts of different, from amethyst to rubies and all different things. It was a really neat experience. I would definitely recommend doing that as well, because it kind of reminds you of the history And I personally was thinking about the gold rush and how incredible it was that we are still doing this years later for funsies instead of being a person that was doing it for their livelihood. But overall, North Carolina has a lot of really incredible things, from the food and the culture and all sorts of different history coming to life in different unique ways. I would highly recommend going and experiencing it.